Hello everybody, I am Young Semicolon, an aspiring character designer and animator, and I just want to do a second video in the Tales of the Fifth Sun series, this time kind of talking about the world at large. I started this video with the intention of talking about shape language, and making characters off the corresponding triangle, square, circle shapes, but I also found myself wanting to talk about motifs and just general signaling on what a character's function should be. But it is inspired by this excerpt I heard from David Grove, so I'm just going to play that real quick.
My viewpoint about Mesoamerica during the pre-classic and classic as well is like a family which has 3 precocious daughters. One of them lives in the south and is a magnificent sculptor who makes beautiful stone objects. The second daughter lives in the highlands and becomes a magnificent architect. The third daughter lives in the west, but people have ignored her because she doesn't look like a member of the family. But how many of our sons are like each other or develop in the same way? Surely the third daughter has all the important features of the family and is important in her own right because she used her creativity to produce fabulous ceramic pieces, and that is her distinctive mark. She was a magnificent potter who interacted with her 2 sisters, actively contributing to her family through time. Each daughter was different, but all 3 were an important part of the Mesoamerican family.
So I started making a world that these characters could exist in without straight up stealing the real world equivalent of Mexico. I'm codenaming it Turtle Island for now, based off of like First Nation mythologies. Keeping the cultures basically in the same place, whilst changing boundaries up a little bit, just for the storytelling purposes I want to do. I'm going to put up all my characters kind of where they correspond to where their story's placed in. And as you can see, I have no Western culture so far, none of the Western territories so far. Most of these are Aztec and Mayan based, but I do intend on telling a story from Western Lorosphere. Which kind of led me to this idea of signaling and use of motifs within character design. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon, so this is kind of the only way I can really pull from it right now. But thinking of like first gen character designs, we have the first fire gym leader, Blaine, who kind of doesn't really signal anything about being a fire type gym leader, especially in his early designs where he literally doesn't have any red on him, which is kind of, not very common nowadays in most Pokemon gym leaders, where they definitely tell you what they're gonna do. It's a video gaming tactic to signal to the player what they have to fight against, right? Contrast that to Mela, who is literally just fire, as like incorporating as much fire motifs as you possibly can within her design. Her hair corresponding to the colors, her boots being in literal flames. Koga is another Gen 1 gym leader who is poison type. And the only thing that really signals that he's poison type in-game universe is his purplish color at first. If we look at Atticus, who also uses muck, he kind of starts using the in-universe design to build on the actual character design he's implementing, or the actual way he adorns himself, right? So he's taking the ninja poison Koga idea and putting Muck on top of that. Muck is his only Pokemon, so it's fitting that he kind of has that same slimy appearance. A big thing going in, I knew that I wanted characters who didn't look like the rest of my characters so far, and I also wanted them to include some kind of magic of some sort. And the one I went with was like earth manipulation, like earth bending, which fits in line with all of them corresponding to some kind of stone work, ceramic work. So the first one I kind of pulled from Mayan stele. These things kind of dot the ruins of many Mayan ruins. A big thing with Mayan imagery is that there's a lot of rounded edges, so making a square character with rounded edges kind of veered hard into like, is this circle territory? Am I getting into circle territory? Whilst designing Ziana, I also wanted to incorporate the like corn shaped head, like just long elongated heads. Mayan people would actually bind their children's heads to look more like corn to kind of denote their nobility. And I kind of wanted her to have that same thing, but I ended up not doing that in the long run. Lots of my early renditions of her kind of made her feel a lot more powerful than I think she should be, or a lot more imposing than she should be. At the end of the day, I still wanted her to be a softer, elderly woman, so I actually had her sitting down in the final pose. I ended up going with much more with like this psychic wise woman kind of look. Ziana, the Stone Singer. The eldest of the three daughters, Ziana discovered her earthbending abilities very early in life, being taken in by the Southern Crown to tell the story of their ancestors. Today, she can be found in the last Mayan temple making charts of the stars. With this second character, I knew that I wanted to incorporate some kind of animal-esque thing. Many of my Aztec characters so far have been informed by animals, whether that be a jaguar or a bird of some sort. And I know that I want to make an eagle character later down the line. So I went with the Quetzalcoatl character as it's kind of... Quetzalcoatl is kind of synonymous with, like, the prosperity of people in Aztec culture. So I kind of wanted this narcissistic, self-adorning character to be like, I am the reason we are achieving the prosperity we are. Also, I kind of got hit with an arcane bug in this, as well as a Morrowind bug. I've been playing Morrowind a lot as of late, so I kind of did this. I kind of pulled from The Last Living Dwemer and gave this woman spider legs just because I think it'd be cool. And it's the more fantastical stuff that I kind of know for sure I want to go into, so I just said fuck it and did it anyways. As soon as I figured out that I wanted the spider body plan, I needed some way to kind of reinforce or validate it. So I used the Talud Tablero architecture style and incorporated these like slopes and jutting outs with the banding on her headdress, as well as just like the lower body spider portions. Tenok, the Grand Architect. I named her after the actual leader Tenok, which is believed to be the one who pointed the Mexica people to Tenochtitlan. So I thought it'd be fitting. She's the second of the three sisters. Tenok once dedicated her life to the militant rule of the empire. Losing functionality in her legs awoke a deep magic capability, and since then, she has shifted her efforts in conquest through designing cities and monuments to talk about the glory of her people. So the third character was definitely the first character I thought of when making this. I instantly got the image of her that I wanted to see. This is actual exploration trying to break that first idea I had. Seeing as the other two characters, Mayan and Aztec culture, fit heavily with geometric shape language, like it's all very hard angled, very rigid, and even if it's not hard angled, most of the Mayan art has very soft edges while still maintaining that blocky shape, which heavily contrast Tenochtitlan's like ceramic pieces, which are all very bulbous, all very rounded. At some point in the seed paint, you see me draw out actual ceramics and kind of draw characters over that. And honestly, this is like one of my favorite methods of finding good shapes that I don't normally use. It's kind of just reminiscent of those old Casey Golden videos, like the From Art to Blob, but used for finding unique silhouettes. Papaplotl, the freeform sculptor. The youngest sister, Papaplotl, has also inherited the family gift. Her work focuses on the stories that come out of the desert, teaching the young children of her village why the dangers of the desert keep them safe from the greater evils that lie east of them. So that's all three characters for today. I'm pretty happy with the way Tenok and Papaplotl came out. Zianya might get a redesign later down the line because I still think she looks a little awkward. Maybe I just don't like square characters. Maybe it's that she's a small square character. I don't know. Maybe it's literally just the posing, which is a whole other debacle that I definitely need to work on and is something I seek to improve on in these videos. But yeah, that's it for today. Have a nice one. Check out the last one if you're interested in these concepts. Goodbye.